Theory number 1. Leon Prater as the New York Ripper. Leon Prater is a wealthy philanthropist and collector of serial killer memorabilia who now possesses the Ripper's actual weapon, the manhole cover hook. On the surface, he presents himself as a billionaire venture capitalist and supporter of the NYPD, but at night he hosts unsettling dinner parties with active killers. Supporters of this theory point to several suspicious details. Prater speaks about the Ripper with unusual pride, unlike his discussions of other killers, almost as though he is praising himself. His possession of the original murder weapon goes beyond the behavior of a typical collector and suggests first-hand involvement. His familiarity with the neighborhoods where the killings took place also implies intimate knowledge of the crime scenes. Additionally, his traumatic childhood, in which he lost both parents in a car crash, mirrors the backgrounds of other killers in the franchise. If Prater is the Ripper, his charity work and serial killer gatherings would take on darker meaning. The parties could be opportunities to study rivals and eliminate threats while hiding behind his wealth and status. Employing Charlie, a trained operative, to protect him would make sense if he were secretly guarding himself as an active killer. With money and influence, he could erase evidence, silence witnesses, and maintain his reputation.
I didn't know what to expect, given your elusive identity. It is so wonderful to finally match the name with the face.
This would make him Dexter's most formidable opponent yet, a murderer with resources, social standing, and careful planning. However, there are strong challenges to this theory. The trope of a respected public figure secretly being the killer has already been used in Dexter with characters like Miguel Prado and Jordan Chase. Prater's public profile also makes it implausible that he could personally commit over 20 murders without being noticed. Finally, his physical stature due to achondroplasia raises practical issues about wielding such a heavy weapon effectively. These problems suggest that while Prater fits narratively, the logistics make the theory difficult to sustain. Theory number 2. Detective Melvin Olivia as the New York Ripper. Detective Melvin Olivia is Claudette Wallace's partner and is portrayed as quiet, reserved, and often in the background during investigations. The theory that he could be the Ripper relies on the idea of a killer hiding in plain sight within law enforcement. Olivia's position gives him insider knowledge of police procedures, forensic methods, and Wallace's investigative style. This would provide him with the skills to stage murders, evade capture, and stay one step ahead of those pursuing him. The Dexter franchise has previously used this type of reveal, such as with the ice truck killer's connection to Dexter himself, making it a possible direction. The strength of this theory lies in Olivia's proximity to the investigation. Being Wallace's partner, he would know how she builds cases, what evidence she looks for, and how to divert suspicion.
Easier.
So the premises are not entirely secure.
Outsider could have snuck in, did the murder.
His quiet personality could conceal a calculating side that has been orchestrating the murders all along. If true, this would also explain how the Ripper managed to remain undetected despite Wallace's reputation as a skilled detective. The problem is that there is very little actual narrative support for Olivia being the Ripper. The series has not given him significant backstory or suspicious behavior that would set up such a twist. Unlike major villains in Dexter, where breadcrumbs are laid well in advance, Olivia has been presented only as a supporting character. Without deeper character development, this theory lacks the foundation to make a reveal of this scale believable. Theory number 3. Charlie as the New York Ripper. Charlie is Leon Prater's close associate, employed as part of his security detail. She has a military special operations background and a Harvard law degree, giving her both tactical combat training and advanced legal knowledge. This combination would make her capable of committing murders with precision and also manipulating evidence if necessary. Her disgust at the killers Prater invites to his dinner parties could be misdirection. Instead of genuine revulsion, it could be a performance to divert attention while she secretly eliminates rivals and asserts herself as the most dangerous predator in the room. If Charlie were the Ripper, the irony would be striking. Prater, obsessed with collecting killers and boasting about his connection to the Ripper case, would unknowingly be employing the very person he has been chasing. This fits with Dexter's fondness for ironic or twisted reveals. Her access to Prater's resources, knowledge of his operations, and ability to monitor investigations from within would make her perfectly positioned to conceal her crimes.
Time to meet the man of the manor.
The weakness of this theory lies in how little has been revealed about Charlie's character. The writers have not provided the kind of layered hints or psychological depth usually associated with major villains in the franchise. While her background could theoretically align with being a killer, there is no direct evidence tying her to the Ripper's crimes. Without more development, the theory remains speculative and difficult to justify. Theory number 4. Jonah Mitchell as the New York Ripper. Jonah Mitchell, the son of Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity Killer, is one of the most discussed suspects. In Season 6 of the original Dexter, Jonah killed his mother in a violent outburst after discovering his sister's suicide. This moment revealed that Jonah was capable of lethal violence and hinted that he might follow in his father's footsteps. Supporters of this theory point to a scene in Nebraska where Jonah wielded a hook-shaped tool at his hardware store job. The Ripper's weapon, a manhole cover hook, resembles the tool Jonah used, suggesting a deliberate callback. Thematically, this theory fits into the show's exploration of generational trauma. Just as Harry Morgan influenced Dexter, and Dexter later shaped Harrison, Jonah could represent the continuation of Trinity's darkness. His statement to Dexter that he felt like he was becoming his father reinforces the idea of a legacy of violence. Fans also note that in Resurrection, audio of the Ripper taunting victims sounds similar to actor Brando Eaton, who portrayed Jonah, strengthening the connection.
A message he left for the sister of a victim.
She thought she could run. She didn't have anywhere to go in that shitty little house of hers. All she could do was cower in her own bed, your sweet little sister.
However, there are two major problems. First, in Season 8, Oliver Saxon's victim files appear to include Jonah Mitchell, implying that Saxon killed him. While some argue that Saxon never reached Jonah before his own death, the ambiguity undermines the theory. Second, the timeline conflicts with Leon Prater's recollection. Prater said the Ripper haunted the streets he played on as a child. Since Jonah is at least 20 years younger, he could not have been the killer active during that period. These issues make Jonah's candidacy controversial, even though the thematic connections remain compelling. Theory number 5. Blessing Kamara as the New York Ripper. Blessing Kamara is introduced in Dexter Resurrection as a kind, family-oriented man who drives for a rideshare service. Born in Sierra Leone, he was forced to be a child soldier before being rescued by his mother and starting a new life in New York. As an adult, he is portrayed as warm, generous, and loyal, living peacefully with his wife and daughter. His seemingly flawless character has led some viewers to suspect him precisely because he appears too good to be true, a common setup in Dexter. Supporters of this theory note Blessing's parallels to Brother Sam, another character who entered Dexter's life as a symbol of redemption. Blessing conveniently connects Dexter to Leon Prater and to the Ripper case, raising suspicion that he may have deliberately guided Dexter into this storyline. His calm demeanor in the face of violence against friends and other drivers could be read not as resilience, but as a lack of empathy. His past as a child soldier also provides a foundation for violent capability, since he admitted to killing at least once under coercion.
I apologize for unloading the ugliness of my childhood on you. I hope I haven't scared you. No, you're a good and gentle person, Dexter.
The difficulties with this theory center on timing and consistency. If the Ripper was already active during Prater's childhood, Blessing would have been either in Sierra Leone or newly arrived in New York. This makes it implausible that he could have been responsible for murders stretching back decades. Additionally, Blessing's stable family life over 30 years suggests genuine emotional bonds, which are inconsistent with the psychological profile of a long-term serial killer. While his openness about his traumatic past could be reinterpreted as compartmentalization, the evidence is thin, and it risks undermining his carefully built redemption arc. Theory number 6. The Ripper storyline may never be resolved. Another possibility is that the New York Ripper is not meant to be unmasked in Dexter Resurrection at all. The Ripper could instead function as background world building, adding depth to the setting while leaving the killer's identity deliberately open. This aligns with the storytelling device known as Chekhov's gun. The writers introduced the weapon in Prater's collection and mentioned the Ripper frequently, implying eventual payoff. However, the reveal may be saved for later seasons rather than addressed immediately. This approach would allow the Ripper to serve as a looming threat or overarching villain in future storylines. Introducing the mystery in Season 1 builds anticipation without rushing the explanation. The killer could then emerge as the central antagonist in Season 2 or 3, giving the writers time to expand on whichever character they choose to connect to the case. This strategy also avoids forcing weak twists onto underdeveloped characters like Detective Olivia or Charlie, whose lack of narrative depth makes them unlikely suspects at present. The Ripper may or may not ever be unmasked, but one truth has always defined Dexter's story. He lived under constant scrutiny. Detectives, sergeants, captains, even those closest to him at Miami Metro, each had moments where suspicion flickered. Some caught glimpses of the truth, others nearly pulled the mask off completely. If you want to see every time law enforcement came dangerously close to uncovering Dexter's secret, you won't want to miss every law enforcement member who suspected me, explained by Dexter.